Hello, and welcome to the League of Extraordinary Atheists for Humanism, where we attempt to apply logic and reason to religion and politics. I'm here with my lovely co-host, Brantly. How you doing?
Hello. I'm doing well.
Awesome. Thank you for filling in tonight. If you don't already know, Christy's out sick. So we have Brantly here to look pretty for her.
Doing my best.
As do I. But she keeps the bar high. So anyways, Happy New Year, everyone. Thank you for spending another Friday night here with us. The first thing we're going to talk about tonight is Star Wars, because I saw it for the second time tonight. Yeah,
Twice?
guys, I just changed it. Yeah, actually, I've seen it twice now because my wife hadn't seen it yet, and that was a good excuse for me to get to watch it again, and I really liked it. I won't give anyone any spoilers, but if anyone wants to talk nerdy with me, you can find me at Grey Skeptic Mac on Twitter, and I will have a nerdy conversation with you. Other than that, the real first thing we're going to talk about tonight is Y2K. It turned 20 this year, Brantley pointed out to me. And I was like, hey, that is interesting. We should probably bring that up and maybe celebrate. I don't know if you brought a drink, but I brought multiple drinks. So I was going to drink to that.
I'm basically stuck on Mountain Dew. But
that's fair.
Mm-hmm. In 2 months, I'll be 4 years sober.
Awesome. Congratulations. Yep. Congratulations.
So, I don't need to be. I could always... Well, I should probably stay sober, I think.
It's a nice thing to be. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Probably wouldn't be here if I wasn't. Yeah, but Y2K. What really sparked my interest about this was saw Rental Reviews Cinemassacre take on the Y2K movies from 20 years ago. And I'm going to go, you know what? That is a pretty good topic. We did survive that.
Yeah, just by the hair of our chins. I mean, like, the Mayans didn't even think we'd make it that far, right?
They knew we'd at least get to 2012.
Oh, I guess that's true.
Yeah. They had that whole not really prophecy. It was just the end of their calendar, and people assumed that meant the end. Like, no, they just didn't count any higher than that. Whatever.
Yeah, I get I get confused sometimes with all of the end of the world predictions. It's kind of hard to keep up.
Mm-hmm. Well, once they get it right, we won't have to worry about it.
Yeah, really. Until then, I'm going to keep criticizing them, though. For those who don't know, the Y2K thing, like if you are young enough to not know about it, it's like when it turned 2000, a lot of people thought the world was going to end. But also, I guess there was like a Y2K bug for a lot of computers. Do you know a lot about that, Brantley?
I do, and the only way it's really been explained to me is because the date on a computer used to be written out with only 2 digits. When it rolls over to the year 2000, it would roll back over to 1 or 0 and think that we're in the Stone Age again and just shut down because it doesn't know what to do because computers haven't been invented yet. Always seems kind of fishy to me that that's how computers work.
It's strange, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
very, very strange. But yeah, that's a weird thing. And even though that happened, we made it, guys.
We did.
We made it another 20 years so far.
No problems were really reported. So we barely made it. Barely.
Barely. So if you don't mind, moving on from this, I want to talk about how we are not making it so well right now.
We're not doing what?
I was saying, if you have, do you have anything else on this topic before we
Oh,
move
no.
Okay. All right.
It was 20 years ago. I lived through it once already.
Fair enough. So, what I wanted to get into was through the new year, some shit happened concerning Iran. If you don't already know, I'm sorry to be the one to have to tell you anything about it because I don't know a lot about it yet. But I know enough to know that there's a lot of bullshit floating around, mostly in the mainstream media and just straight from the president's mouth right now. And it's making me uncontrollably angry. Like, I can't control how angry I am, but I'm not doing any stupid shit, except just wanting to scream about it. Qassem Soleimani, I think is how you say it. Qassem, I'm just going to call him Qassem because I'm pretty sure that's how you say his first name. He was killed via a drone strike the other day. It might have been a day or two ago. I actually don't have the date. But he was a general in the Iranian Revolutionary Guard, which, if you don't remember, back in the summer, was branded a terrorist organization by the United States of America. And it's because they were kind of standing their ground when we were pushing them back in like August, I think. And well, the US didn't like that. So they're like, all right, well, then you guys are terrorists. So they're like, okay, fine, then we're branding you terrorists to play at this game. So we're going to treat, American troops like terrorists. Great, because that went great, that plan. Anyways, back to now over the new year, and of course it happened over the New Year's because there's so much going on during the new year. It's a really good time to make shitty moves because there's so much to focus on. That should be just positive, but is just used as a distraction, more or less. And tinfoil cap. But yeah, so what I really need to point out here, the cliff notes you guys really need to know is Qassem was killed by a precision drone strike. And Donald Trump stated that he ordered this. And that he clarified just to me makes me feel like, I don't know, maybe someone did it and he was like, oh yeah, I'll totally take credit for that. But I don't know. That is just pure speculation from what I know of the lying man. And he stated that Qasem Soleimani, I'm going to try to say his name every now and then, was the #1 terrorist anywhere in the world. Direct quote. The #1 terrorist anywhere in the world. Odd we haven't heard of him until now. We heard about Saddam Hussein and bin Laden how many times before
Well,
they were killed?
my mom, earlier, she didn't clarify or like say any facts or figures or sources. I'm sure she had plenty of anonymous sources, but she did say that over like the past 10 or 15 years, she's heard of him killing Americans. I don't know where from or how long ago it really was, but that's, my mom, she's one of those really good, credible sources.
Moms usually are.
Yeah.
All right.
I kind of took it with a grain of salt myself, but
well, it's always good to take new information with a grain of salt until you can back check it. I do have a little bit of info on that though, so maybe I can clarify. And I'm glad I did like a little bit of research, so I can. So it looks like in Iraq, Qassam helped with a Shia insurgency in Iraq, and it killed some American troops. And that is one of the #1 reasons that our government is using right now to say he is a bad guy. Because hey, I mean, he's not necessarily a good guy, but there's a lot of not good guys. There's a lot of bad guys, we can even say, in the Middle East and abroad. There's a lot of bad guys here too, but I digress. Excuse me. TYT's Cenk Uygur made the point to say that people in Saudi Arabia helped a Sunni insurgency in Iraq kill a lot of American troops. And he gave the counter argument even there, saying that, well, that was Saudi billionaires. That wasn't actually the Saudi government or like the Saudi Revolutionary Guard. But even that said, well, then what are we doing? Like not like throwing bombs all over Saudi Arabia. Like, why aren't we killing all the billionaires over there if they helped with this insurgency in Iraq, just as Qassem helped with a Shia insurgency in Iraq? Same place, same kind of thing, killed American troops. My point is, how the fuck do we pick our allies? And how do we pick our enemies?
That's easy. He's going to buy weapons from us.
Right, they buy weapons and they sell us oil for a slightly cheaper price.
Yeah, well, that's how you pick.
Yeah, and Christy is saying down in the chat, she is in the live chat with us, that Qassem has never killed an American civilian. The Americans that were killed under him were occupying foreign land illegally. And he's no worse than Mike Pompeo. And yeah, that's probably a really fair point. And as I said American troops. I didn't say civilians. I'm not even. I guess I might have to backpedal on the troops as well. But because I don't know if they were contractors or not, is the difference there. That's why I say I may have to backpedal. And I'm watching for Christy to say something in the live chat. But she did give me some other information, and I would like to pull it up real quick before I forget to. I actually have quite a bit of things to pull up. And that would be, I apologize, everyone. I had it ready. Okay, so concerning what's going on in Iraq right now, because she's been covering a lot of video today from the Last American Vagabond, and also shoot, I forget who else, but Max Blumenthal was just doing something live. So what she's found out so far is that Trump sent a letter today through the Swiss embassy in Tehran, Iran, telling the Iran leadership that he would even drop sanctions if they didn't fire back. And she mentioned how he's just playing a game. He thinks he can be the strongman and just kill whoever he wants, whenever he wants, without congressional approval. And then beggar country, who he is assaulted, or at least one of them. There's a wreck we have to deal with now. Holy shit, we have so much going on. But yeah, I guess I didn't need to read the whole thing. The main bit here, sorry, is that he didn't get congressional approval, and he wrote a letter to Tehran, Iran, to be like, hey, don't fire back, because he doesn't want this to fucking blow up on him. Because he being the president of these United States, he doesn't necessarily want a war with Iran, at least like that deep down. There's a lot of people in his administration who super duper want that, and it would probably help his election.
Again, nobody with real power, just the vice president.
Yeah, just that. And because Christy's not here, I'll say her words in the live chat. Last American Vagabond, The Gray Zone, Max Blumenthal, and Empire Files all went live today, all to cover this. And I was not going to cover this today because I haven't had a lot of time to cover it myself. And I'm ashamed. So I didn't want to try to cover it myself because I just don't have enough backstory on it. So I was going to try to get Ryan from the Last American Vagabond to come on soon. I hope he will come on. I don't know if he'll see this, but I'll be sending him an email soon. I do want to share a little bit more real quick because this is a really important story, and I want to share what the conversations looked like outside of here. Because I found this really enlightening and disgusting the other day. Do you mind if I go on a little rant, Brantly? I know I haven't let you talk
I love
much.
Rants.
Okay, awesome.
If someone else isn't ranting, I'm the one ranting. So
all right.
I'll let you rant.
Well, I believe it was on an MSNBC video just 4 days ago. And they were covering the progression in Iran, and part of it had to do with protests going on, and the embassy, which I don't know a lot about what happened there, but I know that no one was killed, as far as I've heard. I'm not sure if you've heard any differently than that, Brantley. No one was killed during the embassy stuff.
I think I just missed it. I didn't see it. That's fair. That bit of news.
Yeah. I didn't tell you to prepare for this part, so I apologize, Brantley. So no hold against Brantley. We weren't going to cover this until like last minute because there's just too much shit going on, and I couldn't not. I felt bad not saying anything about it. So I noticed that some of the footage that they were sharing was kind of bullshit. Like they're saying, "Oh, there's so many people in the streets protesting, and they want their government to go down, and they need us there." It was like the narrative that they were pushing, but there weren't a lot of fucking people there, and they weren't really showing all the casualties that they were talking about. So anyways, I scrolled down to the comments to see what they looked like, and they were mostly not great. Sometimes I scroll down and like I see a lot of people being like, bullshit, 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 bullshit. But the first ones I saw were not that. And one of the first ones I saw, I engaged because I couldn't help it. I wanted to, but I couldn't. It was someone saying, can we just nuke these sand fleas already and call it a day? So as a humanist, I was like, that's not the best way to go about this. So I commented. I said, I know, right? How dare Iranians not want us in their country? Excuse me. And I was responded by the person who made that first post. Said, Grey Skeptic, I know, right? How dare we not police a historically terrorist country? Again, I responded, right? As a terrorist country ourselves, did you even look at the Afghanistan papers this month? This is classic U.S. empire bullshit. And it went on. Brantly, you will absolutely love what he came back with. He pretty much like squashed me with argument. Are you ready? Grey Skeptic, shut up, pussy.
Oh.
It was like, boom, done. Drop the mic. I was like, okay.
Unbeatable argument, obviously.
Unbeatable. I was like, oh, shit. So I was like, I responded, and I'm not using it as a name on purpose. I was like, ooh, Adham. What makes me a pussy? Your lack of ability to look up evidence? And then someone else, huh?
It's because they're tough.
Yeah,
you can snap back into shape after taking a pounding.
Well, I'm the one taking pounding. I mean, I am that. So someone else jumped in, and I am going to share this name because it kept me going. Their name was Don't Give Up. So when I first saw it as a notification, it wasn't like, oh, cool, someone's telling me not to give up. Like, keep going. Then I went, it was someone with the screen name Don't Give Up. And they were also fighting me. So I was like, uh-oh. So they said, Grey Skeptic, I know, right? How dare Syrians not want to be slaughtered by Russia and his little dog Assad? God bless the U.S. all the way. I'm like, oh. Now I double have to jump in, bringing God into it. So I said, don't give up. That isn't the focus of this conversation. Nonetheless, are you referring to the gas attacks by Assad? Because I was going to bring up the OPCW reports showing that they were misused, and there's been whistleblowers from the organization that said that those gas attacks, were done by Assad, saying they were actually not, and it should have never been taken that way. Anyways, back to, excuse me. And I didn't expand one of the things. He said, yeah, not only the gas attack, Russia has killed too many Syrian civilians who their only sin was fighting for their freedom and getting rid of Bashar Assad. Instead of Russia and her little inch, it cuts off there. And someone else laughed because of the shut up pussy thing. And then Don't Give Up again said he's a dumb libtard who hates the greatest country on earth because libtard media tells him to. Just ignore. I've been had, everyone. He said something about trusting government, but that's part of it that didn't get caught on my screenshot here. I responded to "Don't give up." Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Do you have a?
I've never understood that. The conservatives want less government, but they're always wanting more troops and saying things like how great our country is and how much more powerful our country needs to be, but they need less government.
Yeah.
It's such a hypocritical oxymoron.
Oxymoron for sure.
It makes me angry. It just makes me angry when I hear stuff like that. But
no, I understand.
Yep. But that's just coming from an evil humanist. So
yeah.
What can you do?
We can't help it. We're evil.
Yeah.
We hate humans. Because we love them so much.
It's the atheist part that gets them. I mean, that lets them know that we're evil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Christy just commented about the gas attack. Yes, I know. I just total bullshit.
That smells like yeah, that's definitely sarin gas. Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely. Oh yeah, that's deadly. Yeah. I'm surprised I didn't die from this. Let me take another whiff.
Yeah.
So strange.
Yeah, exactly. I just smell that backpack and maybe some other belongings.
Yeah, because that's what reporters do when they think there's poisonous gas on a backpack.
Okay, now we probably shouldn't rip off all of Jimmy's material.
Yeah, probably not. Probably not. So I told "Don't give up" because I kept saying "Don't give up." I was like, all right, I won't. I got this. I was like, I don't trust any government, friend. Every Middle Eastern country is made to look like its worst version of itself. That way, it seems like it's more justified when we intervene. And again, it looks like more was cut off. He said, "You showed up as a kind of guy who cares about people's lives, but when it came to the truth, you show your true face and a double standard Assad." Whatever, he didn't cast his own people, so he's pushing back on my narrative. And then he commented to the first guy about me, saying, "I know, man, but someone must stand up. Someone must stand up to them, so they can't fool others. Hashtag Trump 2020." And at this point, I am super beating my head against the wall. and I had told him to Google the OPCW report, and the ones who reported it said it was misrepresented, and that that's evidence enough. Like, hey, like, look at this, and people who did the studies are saying that it was misrepresented. That's something you should fucking pay attention to. I also had to throw my own lame shade in there and say, "Oh my, I didn't realize I was wasting my time talking logic with a Trumper. I apologize for wasting both our times." Excuse me. He said, "It does not matter. Does the OPCW deny the fact that Assad, along with Russia and Iran, killed 500,000 Syria people, which led to creation of ISIS. When someone is going to kill you, it doesn't matter how he is going to do it." But again, this is just more narrative. He didn't give me any links for that. He gave me a couple other links for things, but one of them was just the same kind of video that I'd heard of recently, where they say, "Oh, 1,500 people were killed," but then they don't give you any sources for that. They just say it. They don't show any. They don't share anything, and nothing's been shared with the media so far.
They give sources. They are all anonymous sources, but they're sources. How about?
Yes.
Oh, I was just about to say abrupt segue to something totally off topic to try to derail this conversation a little more.
Yeah, go for it.
It was just, I'm pretty sure my mom's not gonna watch this, but yesterday my mom said something that made me take pause. She was like, I know this is kind of out of context, but you'll pick up on it immediately. Like, well, isn't Steven Anderson a Baptist? I was like, I think so. She's like, well, he's not a true Baptist because true Baptists are one of the least aggressive, or I forget how she put it, but least hateful. One of the least hateful denominations.
Mm.
How would you respond to that?
Baptist is on a spectrum. And there is a very hateful part of that spectrum. And I would say currently it's one of the most hateful sects that I've seen recently. Even comparing it to some Islamic ones, it's actually quite far up there with Wahhabism, like the Matt Powell kind of branch of Baptist. I would say it's definitely up there with Wahhabism, which is the same religious fuel that is used in ISIS.
So
So
you're
yeah.
basically saying that Stephen is a Scotsman?
Yes, he does not wear the underwear underneath the skirt.
Cool. We have a couple more topics to get to, so I figured I'd.
Well, thanks for sprinkling that in there.
Just get us moving along, I guess. I don't know.
You're cool. I'm going to finish this up real quick, just because I've already gone this. Okay, I'm not going to do the whole thing. One of the things I saw in here, just to again give you guys some of the context of what I'm trying to argue with, and not just online, but I see views like this at home too, and it makes it really difficult to talk politics with anyone in my area sometimes. One of the things that they said was, "Amen, brother. Trump 2020, build that wall and toss the libs on the other side of it." And Grey Skeptic, we're not in Iran, you genius. And there's a real long one, but I'm not going to do that. But it was stuff like pushing the Russia and Syria thing, and God knows stuff things, and yeah, just the pure fact that the first thing that I responded to, and I'll reread it, is the can we just nuke these sand fleas already and call it a day? And if I can find my last comment, I guess I will read that one. I said, because someone else said, still waiting for the logic, Grey Skeptic. I was like, okay, well, let me try to break it down for him. Excuse me, because I'm doing my best here. And I was at work most of the time when I wrote this, trying not to take up too much time. So I said, American government lies about foreign affairs. Afghanistan papers, Pentagon papers, Gulf of Tonkin, so on and so on. Why should I believe these reports? I laid out what we should do in the event that these claims were true. And I did earlier, I didn't read that part to you. That was my usual spiel of the UN should deal with it. We should definitely be a part of that. And by no means should we take any resources from any country we like fucking step foot on, except ours. Even ours is questionable. But yeah, so I continued by saying, stop being smart and read what I've already contributed. Main point, look at what I first responded to. Nuke these sand fleas. How disgusting can you get? If you're worried about their people, ... you don't nuke a population. That's sick as it is stupid. Fight me. So that was my fight throughout the week. I spent like 2 or 3 different days going back and responding to people, more or less wasting my time, but trying to get someone to get somewhere with me.
I have had arguments that lasted a few weeks, 2 weeks at least, but mostly only under comment sections of YouTube videos. I was in an argument with a troll under a Rachel Oates video for I think 2.5 weeks, and we were just back and forth, paragraph after paragraph, and I was just having fun with the guy, and it was under my comment. So once I really knew he was nice and wound up, I deleted the comment and reposted it. Oh, he was pissed. He was so pissed. He invested so much time and energy. It was so great. It was just.
Did you save any of it for you?
You bigot. Yeah, I screenshotted all of it.
Oh, that's great.
But he was defending mass shooters and stuff, and it was just terrible. Terrible.
That is terrible. That is. Oh my God.
I even said under the comment that I reposted that other comment thread was getting a little bit too dark and disgusting, so I decided to repost.
Yeah. I knew I was going to want to drink tonight, so I just finished my first last third of a bottle. Going to finish a couple. I'm just trying to help. I'm trying to help the space in our fridge, and I don't drink very often, so it's okay. Actually, most of the drinking I do, you guys see. So that's pretty much the truth of it right there. All right, so let me check my notes real quick. I pretty much went through everything I went to with Iran. Do you have any final thoughts on it yourself? Oh, I think you're muted. Did you mute?
More evidence, please.
More evidence, please.
That's my final thought. Is just, and that goes for any time anyone supposedly has to die for some cause the government says. Like, more evidence, please. Yeah. I mean, there might be legitimate, but so far I haven't seen any. And it makes me sick. Yeah. Especially knowing the civilian loss, and oh man, it makes me sick. It pisses me off. Another thing that makes me sick is 2,500 troops today said to be sent to the area being Iran when there are wildfires ravaging Australia, and those troops, I'm sure Australia could, they might say we don't want your troops, but we could at least offer. It's like, well, we were going to send them here to kill people, but we could send them down to help you guys and maybe save some people. But that's probably just a fantasy, honestly.
Yeah, no, and as far as the 25,000 troops, I don't know if we're sending any more. I mean, we probably are, but we already had a lot in the area, like in the Gulf Amman, and all around Iran. Like if you look at a map of where U.S. bases are in the Middle East, it looks like they're just surrounding Iran. Like Iran's one of the only places that we don't have a fucking U.S. base. Like we haven't peed on it at least enough yet. So that's one of my closing statements. The other one is basically what I always say is what Christy pointed out. We need congressional approval for any of this fucking bullshit. And two, even when we get it, we need to deal with the UN as well. We don't need to be leading any more Middle Eastern conflicts. We just don't, because we've already proven that we can't fucking handle ourselves or do anything responsibly. Just with the evidence of the Afghanistan papers alone.
I know impeachment isn't in our notes as a topic to get to, but one thing I keep thinking is everyone has such a big problem with unbiased, like, jury, basically. I keep thinking the UN is perfect. We should bring it to the UN, present the evidence to the UN, and ask them, hey, you think Trump should get out? Given the facts? How long of a hearing would that be?
That would be awesome.
It would be awesome.
It would be a short hearing.
No, it'd be like 5 minutes. It'd be like, yeah, no.
Yeah.
You like this Bernie guy, this up and comer, this young buck.
And what's so sad is that like they'd all of his followers would just be like, the world's against us. Kill the world. Send out all the rest of the nukes. I'm just sure that's how so many people would react. Like, they're all our enemy. America's number one. Let's prove it. Anyways, moving on. Thank you, Nasha, for sticking with us. Probably cut your finger on the button there for a minute. They're definitely going to move on. There's no more they can say about this. They weren't even prepared. Okay, any time now. All right. Moving on. I believe tobacco, age limits and tobacco. So we have federally changed the age limit to 21 for anyone who wants to buy tobacco products, and that includes any tobacco products with like flavors, or they got rid of those altogether. I'm not quite sure actually, but it's quite the big deal. And we don't have a lot of info on it. We know that Donald Trump pushed for it and he got it. But really what I think we need to talk about is how we just actually what our opinions are about it. So Brantley, do you want to start? Because I know you have some thoughts here.
My first thought is Trump doesn't do a single thing even close to right. But further than that, my actual thoughts are, one of my friends pointed out something that I had forgotten for many years, that when we were in junior high and high school, it was the seniors who'd buy us cigarettes. And now that the age is 21, unless you're a super senior, as they're called, though that chain isn't going to be there. It won't be as available to get their cigarettes or their vape products or whatever. So there might be a slight downtick of people using nicotine, but like everyone knows, if somebody wants to do something, they're going to find a way to do it.
Right. And we talked about this just a little bit before we went live too, because you're right. If they want to do it, they're going to find a way to do it. It's just like anything else, like drinking or marijuana. But the issue is, now they're going to get shit for it. Now they're going to get in trouble for it. Now they're going to pay fines for it. And you made the extra point of, I'll let you say it.
Oh, now that weed is being legalized in all these states, are losing money. And they're losing a free labor force.
Yeah, so Michael Bloomberg won't have anyone to make
His
calls
phone
for him to
calls,
help
yeah.
this election. That's where we went with it. I didn't mean to get back to that, but when you said it, I was like, oh yeah, there's that. So, which is funny and sad at the same time.
It's easier than fighting forest fires in California, but I don't know. A call center might be worse, hell.
Yeah, yeah, maybe. Good point. So I do want to go through because I did a little Google search real quick. The first thing that pops up here is increasing the minimum age of sale of tobacco products to 21 could create an opportunity to change those laws. Indeed, Chicago, Illinois, Cleveland, Ohio both included language in their laws to eliminate or ensure that there were no penalties for purchase, use, or possession. So that's good. My state's doing something decent. What the fuck? Ohio. And then it also says down here, it asks the question, which states require you to be 21 to buy tobacco? And as of September 18th, 2019, 18 states, including Arkansas, California, Connecticut, Delaware, Hawaii, Illinois, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, New Jersey, New York, Ohio, Oregon, Texas, Utah, Vermont, Virginia, and Washington all have raised the tobacco age to 21. So for me, to put my opinion more out there, to be clear, is I hate tobacco. I hate like cigarettes. I think they're like one, a waste of money. Two, I mean, like they do cause lung cancer. Like they're not a good thing. They're not a good thing. But as a leftist and someone who wants people to have freedom and freedom of choice of like how they spend their lives and their money and what they do, their time, I guess, it should be legal. It should be legal, and I think it should be at 18. I think just about. So, yeah. Go ahead.
I kind of I'm not like super pro military at all, but I've always thought if you have a military ID, you should be able to buy beer and you should be able to buy tobacco, no matter the age. I mean, if you can enlist in 17, I don't know, but an even better point. Oh, the point I was going to make is if in the state of Idaho, we have three things or three, depending on where you're from, three things that you can't do now until you're 21, and that's buy beer, buy liquor, or buy a handgun. And if you can't do those three things, I don't think you should be able to enlist. That's just me. I don't think you should be able to get drafted. I think if you're going to make everything 21, you may as well just make that maybe not for convicting adults, but still adult, you know.
No, I agree. It's not just you. That's been my argument for a long time. At least one way or the other, like raise the enlisting age, lower the drinking age. If you can do one, you can do the other, and you shouldn't just have to do one for the other. That seems like it doesn't seem principled. Is my problem with it? Like, well, if they do serve, then they can use their military ID on the base or whatever to get it. I'm like, well, yeah, but like that's just giving someone an extra perk to serve in the military and do what you want.
I know
and I
this
don't
is
agree
a
with that.
very, very unpopular opinion, but
Ooh, I love unpopular opinions.
oh, it's so unpopular. It's like un-American almost. I keep having this thought. I know it's probably a bad thought, but unless you're tricked, like my dad thinks you can be tricked into enlisting, right now, if you enlist, there's enough information out there to know exactly what you're getting into. Right now, all I can think is you're enlisting to learn to murder. That's unless they reinstitute the draft. Right now, I see no reason, even financially, if you value life, if you value more than one person, like if you value someone else's life over your own well being, which I mean, if somebody told me I'd have to kill someone to eat, I might not eat.
Right. No,
If that's a
yeah,
good
I agree.
analogy. I don't know. Maybe
It's at least good enough of one. It's at least good enough as one. I see what you're saying, and I don't think it's a bad argument. I don't think it's a bad view at all. There's so many different ways to go about this because there's so many ways that we could do this better. I think, and not just that. And the side chat here. That being said, I would argue you shouldn't be allowed to fight before you can drink. Um, I think that's true. I mean, at least the ability, the legal age wise. I don't think you should drink before you can fight, and that's not what he was saying. But no, and another thing to take take into the decision making room is that brain development. Maybe we should adjust these ages where we allow people to do harmful things to themselves.
well, this
To
sorry, but this
I'll
does
I'll
make it. Sorry.
I'll finish my thought first and then definitely pick it up because I will forget. I always forget if I don't finish my thought. I don't necessarily think we should make it illegal to either smoke weed or drink or smoke until you're 26 or whatever that age is for anyone, for that the full brain development to be like an adult and your brain's done growing more or less. But I think there could be a good argument for saying, all right, well, we're not going to sell it to you here. Like if we find it in your possession, or you go around the rules, like we're not going to fine you, we're not going to throw you in jail. It's not a money making way for us to fund the a broken justice system. I don't even think 26 is a good age, but I'm trying to give a good principled argument for a different solution, kind of playing devil's advocate. I still think it should be down at 18 when we're considered adults, like for all of it, just for all of it. But I do think it is important to talk about brain development and like what these substances do to you before the age of 26. So that's my thought. Go ahead, take it away, Brantley. You're muted again.
Oh, I knew I was muted. I was clicking buttons and trying to unmute, but nothing was working.
Buttons will do that to you. You got to be
Something
careful with
worked.
buttons.
Something eventually did work. No, this just brings me back to because yes, your brain isn't fully developed until like 24 or whatever is what they say. I don't think mine ever has, but that goes without saying. But this brings back to a conversation I was having with my dad the other day because he had country music playing, and I told my dad, well, I really couldn't ever see getting sober listening to country because there's always at least one reference to alcohol. And he's like, well, that's not really true. I was like, well, listen to the song that's playing now. And sure enough, as soon as we started listening, it said whiskey. And he was literally pouring whiskey. And I told him that alcohol is to keep the Trump supporters stupid enough to reelect. That's why the subliminal messaging is in the country music, to keep drinking, keep them dumb, keep them reelecting. Yep. It's just a theory. Just a theory. It might be a little tinfoil hatty, but
it's a little tinfoil hatty for me. Only because I know a lot of people who just think that way, honestly, and they just like to share those views and those songs, honestly. I'm not saying that they're not used for those ways. Just let me say it in the way of normal, like, media, like reality TV. I think that when people look at reality TV, they're distracted from a lot of what's really going on in the world that really affects their lives, right? People are super duper distracted by the stupidest bullshit on television. Does that mean all the directors and or producers who make these shows don't just do them because they think they're interesting shows, or like they just think they can make money off of them? No, I don't think that there is a solid case to say that they do it to distract you so you don't see what's going on behind the curtain. I think some may do that. I think that some people in that level of producers, directors, or anyone in the industry, want to push a narrative or hide some things, but I'm always leery of making anything sound like it's close to like it's one big system trying to protect itself, when there's too many cogs in this big machine that we have, and there's too many, I guess, useful idiots, you could say, and too many people working against each other to hide different things and push different narratives. I think there's a lot.
I think about conspiracy theories.
Tell me.
The White House couldn't keep a blowjob a secret.
It's true. It couldn't. But we've kept a lot. We've kept a lot of other secrets. Our government's good at it and bad at it. Depends on the time and place, and sometimes the subject matter. So I think there's an argument for either way, but I don't think think it's easy.
And it's so frustrating that that's what Clinton was impeached over, and that's so much less worse than what Trump's been up to.
No kidding.
Yeah. I mean, he was just taking JFK's lead. I mean, he's like, yeah, I'm president. I can do these things. I'm guessing. I don't know.
Yeah, no. No, they really set the precedent.
I
for the next president. And each one gets excuse me, collectively worse. I don't know what the numbers are right offhand for drone strikes, but like Obama outdid Bush, and it sounds like Trump is outdoing Obama. Like they set new standards, and the next one breaks them and sets new ones, higher ones, lower ones, whichever way you look at it, worse ones. So, and Maya, down in the live chat here, she said, I agree, the government is way too incompetent to keep things like aliens and flat earth a secret. So yeah, I think you're onto something. Also, thanks for being here. You've been here like every week, at least for the last month. You're pretty consistent. Thanks for being here, Maya. Anyways, that's that.
I think because on the list twice, maybe we should talk about schools and immunization.
Yes, that is. Is it on the list twice?
Yes.
I'm ready to move on to that. So what do you have for this right now? Because they made vaccines mandatory, but how wide, how far, why? Isn't it going to give everyone autism?
About 25 minutes that way is about how far.
Okay.
For me, anyway, it's Washington. It's kind of
You're
point.
you're moving your finger a lot. Which way is it? That way or that way?
I'm in a room. The window's all blocked off. I don't have any sense of direction.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I know that they have passed for public school, which is awesome. I don't know how far it extends, like if it's just the measles vaccine. I think it might just be the measles vaccine, but I'm not sure. I should have researched. I only had a day and a half. And I
Did only
procrastinated.
have a day and a half. And I don't know if you can listen to stuff all day at your work like I am sometimes able to.
I have to keep an ear out for equipment.
That's fair and that's safe. I would want that. No, so from what I know, it says all 50 states require that children be vaccinated in order to attend public school, but it doesn't say necessarily for what, although 47 states provide exemptions based on religious or philosophical beliefs. And I like that it says or philosophical beliefs. That it feels a little bit better, but also beliefs.
Oh, wait. Are you saying they don't allow that as an exemption?
They
the 47?
They do.
Yeah, that's gross. Oh
yeah,
my gosh.
yeah, it is gross. I was just glad that it didn't end at religious beliefs, but it also gave like, if you have something not quite religious, like, okay, well, I'm glad we're getting somewhere, but also still in the wrong direction. God damn it, stop.
Yeah, it seems like Washington may have done away with the religious belief part, maybe. I know it was something big that I was happy about. I don't really lock it down into my memory or anything. I have limited space.
I understand. Actually, I'm hearing down in the live chat, there's a video by Navardia, who just did a video on vaccines.
It's so good.
And
it's so good.
Actually, I don't think she just did. I think it's been out for a while, but it's still important to go check out. So please check out Navardia's channel. Link down below in the live chat. Maybe we can get it in the rest of the chat or the doodly doo down below. But yeah, so from what I'm hearing is that they're making them mandatory, but I'm not sure which ones, which sucks, because I didn't get a chance to research this one either. And I did see something about forced vaccinations are rare, though they do happen, but that is usually only in like a measles outbreak or something like that. Like if there's an outbreak and they're like vaccinating everyone in the area, then it's just like, you gotta fucking deal with it or run. But my main argument for
I just looked up Washington.
Yeah.
I can put the source in the live chat, but it says, where did I see that? The law removes the option for personal philosophical exemptions to the MMR vaccine. So that is awesome. But I think they left in the religious exemption, which is not awesome.
Yeah, that's much less awesome. But I mean, we have to take what we can get right now with the government that we have. So
I think it should be a season. I know you're not like pro necessarily hunting or anything, but if we got dart guns, and we could have a season on kids, you'd have to like tag their ear or something to let everyone else know they've already been got.
God damn it, Brantly. As
I'm full of good ideas.
you are, and I'm glad that you went as far as to say tag their ears, because that's important. So, but we're not going to do that, and we do not endorse vaccine triangulations. Just to be clear. But that is a creative idea, and in case of an emergency, that's probably the way that we'd have to go. But, for anyone who's watching right now, who thinks vaccines are awful, I do want to say, because the main argument that I hear is like, look, they either kill people or they give kids autism. And my argument to that is like, just even given that's true, even if vaccines give kids autism, which is not true, but trying to level someone, right, is better than polio. Like, Elon Musk is doing fine. Anyone who's ever had polio is not doing so fine. Like, Stephen Hawking, only good exception, but also Stephen Hawking. All right.
Stephen Hawking wasn't polio.
It wasn't polio?
No.
I'm sorry.
It's some other
god awful disease.
Yeah.
I thought it was polio.
And it was supposed to kill him polio actually has a cutoff, but his disease got progressively worse. Polio at least stunts you, and then you don't go any further than that. Does that make sense? Okay. So, but with Stephen Hawking, he was supposed to die like at 23 or something crazy young when they discovered
ALS. He had
ALS.
I apologize, everyone. Yeah. That was a stupid thing of me to say.
And then one person has gotten polio from a polio vaccine they don't make anymore, which was kind of cool. I saw on a Nova documentary about vaccines. It was an oral vaccine, and they knew that there was a possibility that 1 in 300 million people could possibly get polio, and they used the vaccine anyway. And he just happened to be that lucky kid who got it. They no longer use that vaccine, and I don't think it's even legal in other countries, but it's still a cool documentary.
Yeah. That sounds cool. That sounds really interesting.
And he is a very firm believer in vaccines. He's like, please go vaccinate your kids. I could be contagious.
Yeah. And although I made a really stupid mistake, which again, I apologize for, I do want to say that actually kind of helps my argument. Again, there's no one who's doing well at polio. So
the last guy alive that's in an iron lung who has polio, he's actually a lawyer, and he takes on clients. He doesn't have a wife or a partner or anything, so I mean, it's not great. And He is an iron lung, but he did graduate college and pass the bar.
I think I saw something on that, like this past year. Yeah,
it's really interesting. Cool.
Yeah, although he's doing.
I want to give him a wireless controller and a video game console.
That would be awesome. That I think he'd appreciate that as long as he can play it. That'd be awesome.
And enjoys it. You know, he might think it's like, I don't like this. Who knows?
Yeah. So main takeaway: vaccinate kids, please, because measles suck, polio sucks, and so do other things that we're trying to get rid of. And not to go super lib on you, but I do need to say that with the climate changing as it is right now, and the weather changing like it is up here in Ohio right now, we're not having a lot of super cold days right now, which is dangerous for us because of germs. When we get our super cold days up here, it kills the viruses and the bacteria that makes us sick. That
not to mention
around.
And pine beetles.
And pine beetles. And it's important that nature keeps that shit in check because it helps us, the humans. And I don't know if you know anyone who's been sick recently more than usual around the wintertime. It's because these bugs aren't dying from the weather like they usually do. And it's only going to get worse. And if we're letting these like super bugs like live too through not vaccinating our children, we're just like lowering our chances from surviving these tiny bugs.
Pretty sure, Mac, that we might be possibly throwing academic papers at each other, arguing our sides at this point for a few weeks, but I've heard just the opposite. I've heard that with winter comes lower humidity, and viruses in a low humidity travel further because they have less water vapor to stick to, which then gets stuck to the ground or something else. And fewer people get sick in the summertime because there's higher humidity.
Okay. All right.
So,
all right, Brantley.
I think there might, it's we might have to go on modern day debate pretty soon here, hash it out.
If we do, I'm not going alone. I'm not super duper science savvy. When it's explained to me, I understand it, but that's not something that I can regurgitate very well. That's not even the best word to use for it. Excuse me. So I do know that at least in some cases, the cold does kill certain things that make us sick.
Yes, I agree with that. Yes.
One thing may actually just be allergens, even because I know my allergies have been killing me more than usual, and I'm getting more sinus infections like this year than usual. I usually get sick once this season, and it's usually during like the season change. And I've been sick every single week, I think, since the week before Thanksgiving. And almost everyone else I know has been as well. There's not very many healthy people around right now, at least not around me and that I know, down in Florida and yonder. So
we have had a skeleton crew for the past 3 weeks. At least one person has been gone from our shift. We normally have a 4-man crew, we have a 3-man crew, and we've all rotated out these past couple of weeks. I was like the second guy to get so sick I was sent home and told not to come back until I was feeling better. Then I come back and somebody else has to go that day that I left. Yeah, it's been crazy. The illness has been crazy. But the why I brought up about those pine beetles scares me even worse, because without those cold snaps killing the pine beetles, they kill more trees the following summer, which lead to greater forest fires.
Oh.
And more forest fires, more CO2, more greenhouse gases get released, more pine beetles live through the following winter. Cycle, rinse and repeat, basically.
Yeah.
it's all like nightmare fuel. It's so fun. I mean, it's horrible, tragic, and
It's all fun. It's all neat.
all neat and fun
Neat.
and vibrant.
It makes for good conversation. So maybe we should just, let it keep happening. All right. Well, I don't really have anything else for the night. We do have community news. I did not forget Nacha, actually. Excuse me. So we are going to move on to community news, which I believe we have a little slide for. I hope. And the main thing we have in the community news is there's a fundraiser going on, which, thank you, Nacha, just before I said it, he put in the live chat down below and also down in the doodly-doo. And this PayPal, for some reason, is closed. I had it open. This fundraiser is for live streaming hardware for the Lavender Lady, Diana. She's trying to up her hardware so she can. She needs a new monitor set up. I think she's trying to get a second one. And we would be very, very grateful. The whole community would be here if we could lend her a hand. If you can donate anything at all, $1, $2, $5, $10, more, that would be wonderful. Just click the link down below and see if you can help her out. We just gave Nacha 2,000 Aussie dollars to get a whole new setup so we can help improve this show and anywhere he helps in the community, which is a lot of places. So if you guys have it in your hearts to help out another person in the community right now, that would be amazing. Please do not donate if it's going to hurt you, keep you from eating, keep your kids from eating. Please don't do that. Don't put yourselves in a strenuous place. But if you do have a few extra bucks, like I said, $1, $2, $5, $10, it helps. If we get enough people to chip in, it goes a long way. The goal is only $600, and we're $10 there. So again, please help if you can. We really, really, really appreciate it. Diana's a friend of the show, a friend of the community. All right. That said, do you have anything else to end on? Anything you'd like to say before we part ways, Mr. Brantly? Oh, you're muted again. Them buttons.
Give as much as you can, honestly. If she goes over the goal and gets more equipment than she even needs, well, guess what? That is even better, And unlike Mac, I don't care if your kids go hungry. I don't know kids. I know Lavender.
He doesn't know your kids.
I know Lavender Lady. I know her, and she needs a new computer.
Yeah, and she's wonderful. So,
yep.
All right.
One of the first people I even interacted with.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of people we first interacted with, maybe I should make a little announcement. We have a special guest next week. Dun, 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 and you guys will hear it here first, where you'd see it first. Excuse me. And yes, the note down below, Brantly. So be ready. Yeah, next week we have a special guest, and I've been waiting to have this guest on for quite a while now. I'm a very big fan of hers, and she's kind of a longtime friend. The first person, if anyone remembers, that kind of introduced me to this community, the first person I found, is Shannon Q. She'll be on next Friday with us. So please don't miss that one. It's going to be great. Going to have a really, really good, fun conversation. We're going to mostly talk some philosophy and religion for that. But I'm going to try to get her on a little bit of world building too, for politics, economics, just see, where she might lie, because I don't think she's really into politics, but that's okay. We're going to see where she might land. We don't really need to put a label on it, but we'll see if we can enlighten her on her own views in many ways. That's my goal. So we'll see. We'll see if it works out. But either way, I'm super duper excited to have Shane at Q1. So please be there for that next week. Other than that, apparently make sure you unmute for the end. Everyone have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. And we love you guys. Thank you for being here.
Stay humanist for godless sake.
Nailed it.